I will be answering the call of my craving. And I'm going to be making a Chile Verde chowder. It just sounds so good. You can also call it a roasted tomatillo corn chowder, or you might even get away. Like say you have like a chili cookout that you're going to attend. You might even be able to call it a white chili because it's creamy and there's going to be beans in it and the chilies in it as well, cumin. So I think it would pass. I know if you're from Texas, you're probably cringing right now. But that's okay, because in the words of Beyonce, this ain't Texas. And this is a plant-based cooking channel anyway. So we're gonna do Texas-style chili here. Yeah, we're gonna be making a beautiful stew. Poblanos and tomatillos and jalapenos and garlic and onion. You have to do a couple things ahead of time. I actually started recording this earlier, but I forgot to turn on the mic. So I already got started with steaming the cauliflower. You wanna cook it ahead of time to get it nice and soft, about 15 minutes. Or you could actually use frozen cauliflower, which is already parboiled, and it will work. I like to soak my cashews ahead of time. I have a high-speed blender. I don't really need to soak them. It does take a little longer to blend when you don't soak them. Sometimes there's even still texture, but once you cook it, the texture is away. So it's not really that big of a deal. If you don't have a high-speed blender, you definitely need to soak. But you don't have to use cashews. Instead of using a half a cup of cashews, you can substitute that for about a cup for Project Organic Unsweetened Plain Yogurt. It's a cashew and coconut yogurt. I really love this. It's gonna be just as good, but I'm just doing it cashews today because I have the cashews. I'm gonna save this for other things like tzatziki and making like potato salad. Another thing that you can do ahead, if you want to cook your beans from scratch, like I did here, you can cook your beans. I cooked some great northern beans. They're like the white, they're not cannellinis, they're like the other white beans. But you can use any white bean. Chickpeas, cannellinis, white navy beans, lima beans. Yeah, whatever. I cook these ahead of time, 24 ounces. That's what I have here. If you're not cooking your beans, you could just use 2 cans of white beans. You can mix them if you want more texture. 2 cans is about, I think it's like 29 ounces. 24 ounces, 29 ounces, it's not that big of a deal. I like to roast my tomatillos in the oven at 425 degrees. So I'm roasting most of my veggies. I'm going to roast some of them on the stovetop. I'm gonna roast the poblanos and my jalapenos on the stovetop. The tomatillos, they have these little jackets. You wanna take them out of the jacket. I like to use a fairly small pan because I want them to kind of be crowded. So they make kind of a sauce. And I have about 6 garlic cloves. I keep these in their jackets to protect them from the heat so they don't get burned. So they'll roast inside their shells, but they won't actually burn. Then usually I like to use a large onion. You can use 2 onions. It's hard to overdo the onions when you cook them, when you roast them. We're gonna be roasting these onions and with the tomatillos and the garlic as well because everything's gonna be blended. I'm not gonna dice them. I'm not gonna spend the time chopping them up when they're already gonna be blended. So I just quarter them. And I have a bag that I keep a lot of my chicken scraps, my kitchen scraps in. So that I can make broth later. I just keep it in the freezer, and when this gets full, I make broth. As you can see, I'm starting a new one. Which is why I'm using this better than bouillon, because I'm out of broth. You don't want to use too much oil. I'm shooting for about a tablespoon. Oop, that's it. Just kind of, mix it all up, sprinkle on a little salt. I'm gonna put it in the oven. Still preheating, but that's okay. We'll get it started anyway. And I'm gonna check that every 10 minutes. I want the tomatillos to get brown and blister, and I want them to kind of collapse once I, press them with this spoon, because I turn them into a sauce. So in the last 5 minutes of roasting these, I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of cumin so that it could just bloom in that high heat and the oil just will bring all its flavors out and its nutritional components as well. I'm just gonna clean up. I'm gonna go for a little walk. I have 6,614 steps right now. 7,000 is optimal. I try to go for 10,000 steps because why not? You know, you can't really walk too much. Now let's roast our poblanos and our jalapenos, which I will roast on the stove. Kind of balance it there. You can do it one at a time, but I just feel impatient, so I just do it this way. And you can roast the jalapenos or not. It's up to you. I'm gonna roast mine. Should I roast the zucchini? You know what? I think you can roast the zucchini if you want. You can cut it into cubes and roast it as you're roasting your sauce, although you want to keep them in a separate pan, like, you know, put it in like this pan. In this case, you don't want it to be crowded. You want more room. It will kind of caramelize, which is really nice. I'm not going to roast it this time. I'm just going to chop it up and put it in the stew when I put in the potatoes. It won't have quite as much flavor, but this stew is going to be so good anyway. It won't really matter, and we'll be using less oil. I want it to char. That looks beautiful. So I'll let these cool, and then I will rinse these a little bit. I'm not going to fully take the skin off. I like the charred bit. Okay, this is good too. Let's roast some jalapenos too. No! Yes, yes. I don't want to go. Yes, you're going. I think I've been steaming the cauliflower for about 15 minutes. It's good now. It's soft. Blending the vegetables, all the roasted vegetables, and the cauliflower and the cashew cream together. I'm just gonna put them into my Vitamix carafe right now. Also, I forgot to mention, when you roast the garlic, when you keep the garlic in their jackets, make sure to count or remember how many garlic cloves you are using so that you know how many you need to retrieve, because sometimes it just, like, they'll get lost in there and you won't realize that there's a garlic skin left in there, and then you'll blend in the garlic skin. So I always count my garlic. We got enough jalapenos. I'm getting bored of this. We've roasted enough chilies and peppers. We'll get plenty of flavor in there. Okay, we're also going to be adding a 1/4 cup of nooch into our creamy broth. Nooch is also known as nutritional yeast. I'm going to be adding the cashews. I'm going to drain them. Some bouillon. This is about 2 tablespoons. So you want to take off these veins too. They have heat. It's kind of... And you want to make sure to also wash your hands after touching jalapenos. I joked during COVID that the way that I avoided touching my face was to cover my hands with jalapenos. It was a bad joke. Nobody laughed. I thought it was funny though. You definitely do not want to be touching your eyes after this. No sirree, Bob. Okay, I'm leaving some of the char on it just to get a little bit of smokiness. I don't know if these poblanos are spicy. They're a little spicy. Actually, the spice is just hitting me now. Almost there. Another 10 minutes. But I'm gonna put about 1/2 teaspoon of cumin in it. Just so that it can bloom in this oil. Just kind of get it down there. Okay, we're also going to be putting a couple of tablespoons of cornstarch into our pitcher. Yes, that says cornstarch. This is 2 tablespoons. I'm going to cut our potatoes. Again, keeping the skins on them for nutrition. Okay. I'm going to, what do you call it? Yeah, I'm going to eighth them. I'm going to quarter each half. How about that? Let's see how our tomatillos are doing. Oh, they're pretty good. Yeah, they're making sauce. It's done. We're just gonna let it cool. I don't know, about 5 minutes. I'm gonna pull the garlic out and take the shells off of them. And then we're gonna put everything to our blender correct. Add some water. We're gonna blend it. And then we're gonna start assembling our soup and cooking our potatoes and our zucchini. I'm gonna take my compost out to the compost bin. I really love my compost bin, and I love just watching the wildlife that exists in my compost bin. I would take you along, I would show you. I know this is a cooking show, so I don't know, my husband told me that you might not be all that into worms. Do you want to see what's in my compost bin? Let me know in the comments down below. Everything's cooled. Even that's cold. Okay. Over here. Here. Let's start cooking. Okay. So we're going to be putting everything in there. But let's take it away because we need to fish our garlic out. So we got 1 clove, 2 clove, 3 clove, 4. Oh, they just pop out. They already pop out of there. Sometimes it's hard to, I seriously, you've got to count your cloves because it can you could easily, so 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're good there. Okay, and then you just put all of this in here. It's super easy. So, and now we're gonna pop our garlic into it. Whoop. Boop. 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 And this one is already peeled. Fill it with water. I'm only going to fill it this much. We're going to end up putting more water in there. I just don't want it totally full. I think we'll blend better this way. And I'm going to go blend it. And then going higher and higher. This is what it looks like. So it's a little textured. I like that. Oh, it's so tasty. A little spicy, but the potatoes are going to soak up some of that spice. And then we're going to put our potatoes in. These are kind of big. Maybe I should have diced them, but I didn't. I didn't dice them. So this is what we get. And we're going to have big pieces. That's okay. Also, we're going to put our zucchini in there. And we're going to put about a teaspoon of oregano. Look how beautiful that is. This is about the thickness that we're going to end up with, but I'm going to add a little bit more water just to give it some cushion for simmering. Something to simmer away. Just put a lid on it. Oh, that is so good. Oh my God. And the beans. We got to put beans in it. I almost forgot about the beans. I love these containers, these yogurt containers for Tupperware. Don't waste your money. I've been using these containers for like 6 months. They're all still good. They're not wearing out. So much this yogurt all the time, although I do like this yogurt. I always get the forager because it's kind of savory. It has more of that umami-ness. Every week I get a new container of yogurt, and I've been keeping these, and they stack up in my pantry, and then I always have like Tupperware. Now I'm really bad at this, but I will write on it like bolognese or black bean lentils from June 28th. But as you can see, it's got caramelized onions in it. These are past their prime, and they need to go feed my mealyworms in the compost. So I'm gonna leave it out. I'm so excited for this. Oh, I'm gonna put a lid on it. I'm gonna simmer this. I put it down really low, and I'm gonna put a lid on it. Although I'm gonna check this like every 5 minutes to make sure it's not boiling over because it's a pretty hot burner. It's a power boil burner. So we want it super low, like almost to the lowest. Like 1 millimeter past the lowest, or before the lowest, or whatever. Okay, let's get our, I just washed cilantro. I'm just gonna dry it a little bit. I honestly really don't need to do this because it's gonna go in a soup. We're gonna use it to garnish, but yeah, have it. You don't want a ton of stem. I like to pull most of it off the stem. That's all I'm going to prepare of the cilantro tonight. I'm gonna dry this up and more and store it in the fridge in a bag. You can put the stems in your scrap bag, your kitchen scrap bag. We will put it in its place. It's done. See how it just squeezed? Okay, totally done. How much corn? I think we're just gonna do half a bag. Half a bag, that would be like 5 ounces of corn. We just want some corn in every bite, but we don't want it to be overwhelmingly corn. Maybe a little bit more. That's good. We'll let this cook for, I don't know, maybe like 5 minutes, and then we'll plate it. A little dollop of yogurt on it. Oh, doesn't that look good? I'm so excited. It smells so good. It's hot. It's perfect. It is so good. One of my favorite things in the world. So yummy. And it came out wonderful. I'll put the recipe will be in a link to my Substack in the description below, in the basement, where we meet in secret. If you like this video, which you probably did, you're still here, give it a thumbs up, please, because it will really help the algorithm, or YouTube, get my videos to the right people. And that way we're not really meeting in secret anymore. Okay, thank you. Bye.